It is time for us to officially get started here at the top of the hour. It is 12 o'clock where I am coming from here in Southern California. I believe it's probably 1 o'clock where you all are. So let's go ahead and begin. Welcome. Thank you for joining. My name is Alyssa Navarrete, and I am your facilitator for this afternoon's PD. We have some instructions here for getting started on our session. Because we're Nearpod, we always use Nearpod to facilitate our learning. Nearpod is a great tool, of course, for all ages, for working with little guys, for working with adults, for working with anyone in between. So we're going to have a live and interactive lesson today to learn about using Google Slides together with Nearpod. So the join code you will see there on my shared screen. It is BCSTW. So you can go to join.nearpod.com, look for the spot where it says, do you have a code, and join into my lesson as a student. I'm going to be your teacher at first, and you're going to be my students. We are also going to be using our own Nearpod accounts to work on creating some things. So you're going to be needing to pop around on the different tabs on your screen. So in order to do that, you would probably want to take the Zoom screen, the shared screen that you are looking at right now, and minimize it, make it a little bit smaller so that you can work on the tabs in the back. Another way to join the lesson that I am dropping in the chat, and I'll put it there again. I see we have more people joining into our session here, our webinar. There is a blue link right there in the chat, and I got that here from when I launched the lesson here, where I just copied the link there and I dropped it in there. That's another way to join in. So I am actually going to copy that link one more time, and I am going to join my own I'm just click right. I have to just drop it in there. I'm on my own screen. I'm going to join in my own lesson as a student in my own lesson, and I will just quickly click on join as guest, and my name will be populated in there. And then I see a matching pairs activity to do while I'm waiting. So let me clear this away. Let me put the slides out of the way here. So what I'm sharing here now on my shared screen is my teacher dashboard, because I am going to be facilitating this presentation from the teacher dashboard. So let me move those instructions out of the way so I can see here. I will be displaying what you see. And then on the bottom right hand corner, I see who the participants are. So I could see who all has joined in. So there are 5 of you plus myself. Yeah, we have 8 of you here in the session, so I'll give you just a minute more to simply click on that blue link in the chat, and it will drop you right into my live lesson here, and then you could go ahead and try the matching pairs activity while you wait. Excuse me. If you're having any trouble, if you're having any challenges, let me know here in the chat. We're in a webinar right now, so your cameras are not available to you and your microphones are not available. So the best way to communicate with me, the facilitator, is just to send me a message here through the chat. Make sure that when you click on the drop-down menu there, that the message is going either to me if you want to send it privately, or if it's a question that's for the good of the group, please make sure that the blue drop-down indicates that everyone can see your question. Because it's a webinar, you're right now not really seeing everyone else who is here. So that's just a little bit of housekeeping that you would want to take care of. And again, you are going to want to minimize my Zoom screen where I am sharing my screen with you, so you can work behind it on your tabs on your browser. We're going to be popping around on different tabs back here, and we will be talking about that in a second. So let me go ahead and just check here on the teacher dashboard side of things here. So it looks like some of you have tried it out, the matching pairs activity. The rest of you haven't given it a try yet. So I just want to welcome you to explore, like, can you match these symbols together with the descriptions? Like, I know this is the symbol for Google Chrome, so when I click on the two that go together, they will turn green. If I make a mistake and I get the answer wrong, I click on the two that are not a pair, it will give me that feedback. It will tell me, nope, try again. It was red, so let me see. I'll try a different one. Oop, I got it correct. So now I'm continuing to work through here and find the pairs. And we just start off with these symbols because we're going to be talking a lot about Google today. And Google, Nearpod, any tech tool, we love these little symbols. We love these little icons. They help guide us. They help us find our way. They remind us what we are looking at and what we are working on. So we kind of want to be aware of those and pay attention to those over here. So let me just double check here on the teacher dashboard side of things. I'm changing my tab up here on the top right hand corner because I'm facilitating this lesson. So I see all your names here. I see the work that you're doing. For privacy right now, just to keep you a little bit more anonymous, I'm going to click here on the bottom right hand corner and I am going to hide your names. So now just know when I show my teacher dashboard here in Nearpod, your names will be hidden, you will be anonymous. That's a good tip for using Nearpod with your students. They may be more willing to participate, they are more willing to interact, have a little bit less self-consciousness, less embarrassed maybe, just more kind of willing to take a risk if they realize that they are anonymous. So just know that you are going to be anonymous, and I did that by clicking the little eyeball there on the bottom right hand corner of my dashboard. But enough of that, let's get started. We have a 60-minute session here and a lot of good things to cover, so I really want to go ahead and jump in and begin. I just clicked on my dashboard. I clicked to the right, so that moved the slides that you are looking at in your student lessons. So you see my teacher dashboard on the shared screen here on Zoom, but where you are logged in as a student, you will also notice that right now I am controlling the pace of the lesson. So this session is called Creating Engaging Nearpod Lessons with Google Slides. So we're going to talk about all things having to do with Google Slides and how you can take Google Slides and move them into Nearpod or add Nearpod to your Google Slides and just integrate the two tech tools together to enhance your students' learning experience. Because kind of by itself, if you are just sitting watching a Google Slides presentation, that is a passive experience. We want to make it more interactive. We want to make it more engaging. So take those Google Slides and put them into a Nearpod lesson, and then you can really engage that or increase that engagement with your students. So this is me. My name is Alyssa Navarrete, as I mentioned earlier. Oh, and for those of you, I see we have a couple people joining late. All right, let me put these instructions in here again for you to join the lesson. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention to that. Again, send me messages in the chat if you need to talk to me. I'm looking at the chat and looking at my presentation here. But this is me. My name is Alyssa Navarrete. So I am from the professional services team here at Nearpod. I am a district strategy consultant. So we are the team that supports our schools, our school districts, and any of our amazing Nearpod users, educators, clients, anybody that is really trying to use this tech tool to improve instruction or to just use it to enhance their instruction. I'm one of the consultants. There's my contact information there. You can feel free to reach out to me at any time after this session. If you ever have any questions, I am happy to help you out. I am happy to answer your questions. It is not a bother whatsoever. Also see my Twitter handle there. If you want to connect with me on Twitter, you can connect with me that way too. So my background is that I am a former bilingual educator myself. I mentioned earlier that I'm coming to you from Southern California right now. I'm in Orange County in California, not far from Disneyland. And I am, like I mentioned, a former bilingual educator of many years, an elementary school teacher, but I did shift over to professional services, working with on professional development with curriculum and technology, and I've been doing this also for quite a long time and had the privilege with working with teachers all around the U.S. and here at Nearpod around the world with all the great virtual work that we do. So a lot of fun. So that's me. Now, if you want to just not even have to write anything down, but you just want to take notes about things that you learn in today's session, you can activate your notes on your student lesson. So if you're looking at my shared screen, I am going to change my tab for a second to show where I'm logged in as a student, because I don't see the notes as a teacher, but I do see the tab as a student. In this little tab here on the top right-hand corner, this is where I can get a copy of the entire presentation. So that would include my contact information there. And I can also get a copy of the slides, the embedded resources, and any notes that I take. So I can choose how I'm going to share them with myself. I usually select email. You could select to share it to your Google Drive if you wanted to. I like email better right now. So I put my email in there, elissa.navarrete@nearpod.com, and I click send. And now I will get a copy of all of these resources. I can also just write any notes that that's not how I spell notes. Any notes that I take along the way, I just jot them down. I don't even need to worry about pencil and paper for that. And it will just come right to my email. All right, so if you want to do that, I encourage you to activate your Notes Navigator. Even if you're not going to take notes, if you just turn it on, then you will get a copy of the entire presentation. We will also be following up with you with another copy of the presentation. If you want to wait for that, you'll get that through Zoom. And this session is being recorded as well. So just do know that you will have access to the recording if you need it. At the end of the session, I also will share the form with you for you to get your credit hours through the state to get your PD credit. So that is included at the end of this session and embedded in the presentation as well. All right, so that's a little bit about me. I just introduced myself. I told you about who I am. So now I want to invite you to introduce yourself really quickly. I see we have 10 people here in our session, and if you just joined late, once again, I'm going to drop some joining instructions here in the chat to be able to join in the lesson, but please share a bit about yourself and your role. Let me make sure that student options is correct there. And what are you interested in learning about today regarding using Nearpod and Google Slides together? So just on this Collaborate board, okay, not in the chat, but on the Collaborate board in the Nearpod lesson where you're logged in as a student here. Oh, what's that there? Go ahead and share your thoughts on the bottom there, and you can add an image, a video, an audio file if you want to, or a GIF. That's kind of kooky. What just happened right there? So it looks different than what I see here. I don't know. I wonder why I'm not seeing the little icon there. Hopefully that's working. Let me give this a just make sure this is working. There we go. Yeah, so that's all I did is I just typed there on the bottom, add an image. You can add a video if you want. You can add an audio file or a GIF. All right, so I'm watching your answers come in here. Instructional learning coach, middle school in Southern Utah. How to easily integrate Google Slides. I always turn it into a bigger mess than it should be. I hope that I can help sort this out for you. We will sort it out. I'm going to respond to you. We will sort, hopefully, and ask questions. Okay. This is what I am here for. We're set to go for 1 hour, but if you need me to hang on afterwards and just continue to sort things out, I am happy to do that. Teacher of the deaf and blind, coordinator of interveners who work one-on-one with deaf blindness in the classroom. Interesting. Okay. 3rd grade teacher. I teach 4th grade. Awesome. Welcome everybody. Gunnison. All right, so if you are brand new to Nearpod and you're feeling a little bit behind the gun here, this is not a getting started, just so you know, this is not a getting started with Nearpod session. So hang in there with me. Hopefully this will make sense, but I definitely will encourage you to attend one of our Nearpod for Beginners sessions, because we're going to be operating in this session with the assumption that you know a little bit about using Nearpod, because this is a little bit more advanced, just so you know. But hang in there with me and we'll try to sort this out for you. All right. 3rd grade teacher from Salt Lake City. Anybody else want to post in here? So you right now are having a student experience. This is what it's like for students in a Nearpod lesson. I I ask you questions, you get a chance to respond. This makes the presentation more interactive. New kindergarten teacher, welcome. I was a kindergarten teacher. Kindergarten was the best. Navigate, make it familiar with it enough to feel comfortable with it. Okay. Welcome to Amy from Saratoga Springs. Love it. All right, you're going to have about 30 more seconds to respond here before I move us ahead. Fourth grade teacher, several roles the past 30 years, administration, went back to the classroom. Check you out, going from admin back into the classroom and kind of new territory, bit scary. Don't be afraid. One thing we say about Nearpod is click on all the buttons. You are not going to break it, okay? And that is the best way to learn, is just discover and jump in and start small. Don't overwhelm yourself with trying to do all sorts of fancy things. Just if you start with a couple things at a time, get comfortable and familiar with those features, and then you can continue to build your repertoire. So awesome. Welcome everybody. Welcome to the training. You told me a little bit about your background, so that's great. Let me move ahead here to a poll, actually, where we're going to more specifically get into what your background knowledge is. Now, a poll is something in Nearpod that you can put into any lesson, and it's just a great way to quickly get some formative assessment data about your students. So what is your familiarity with using Google Slides, because this is a Google Slides presentation, and Nearpod together? So you'll see your choices there on your student side of things here. When on my teacher dashboard, as I'm facilitating the lesson, I will get the data coming in. So quickly, just as a student, you would just select your response and click submit. Okay, so notice on my side of things, I can see all my students. Actually, let me go over here where I'm a student. Here we go. I'm going to click submit. There we go. So it adds to my data here. On my left-hand side of my poll, I could tell I have 9% of you haven't answered yet. If you are having a question or not quite sure how to answer on the poll, let me know here, but it's a matter of simply just selecting your choice and clicking submit. There we go. Now we got 100% of you. All right, and sometimes it's just a little bit of a lag with the internet here, but okay, so my choice A here, I could select this on the top. I use them both, but not together, and I can see how many of you responded that way. B is I use Google Slides, but I'm new to Nearpod. All right, I got 3 of you who are new to Nearpod. Interesting. Okay. Can use Nearpod, but new to Google Slides. All right. And then we've got a couple of you who are just here to ask questions and learn more. So a nice diverse group over here. I will click on this red share button on my teacher dashboard, and you all will just see on your student screen some data. It's always a great learning experience with your students to examine the data. What does this data tell us about our class? What does this tell us about our group? What does this tell me as a teacher as far as what I need to do to serve and instruct you and to really meet your needs? So I can see that the majority of you kind of are familiar with both of them, but not together. And you are really the ones that we are focused on today. And again, for my friends who are brand new to Nearpod, the 27.3% of you, hang in there with me. Hopefully some of this will make sense to you, but definitely come back for a learning with Nearpod, a getting started session, because that's going to be more suitable for you to just figure out, how do I even get started with this whole tool? We can't fit everything in 1 hour. We have to take these little chunked out pieces and try to share new features with you along the way. All right, well, here's what we are going to be covering today, is just how you can create engaging Nearpod lessons with the Nearpod add-on in Google Slides, and how you can increase student participation and collaboration with Google Slides, and how you can embed interactive media into Nearpod with Google Slides as web content. So those are kind of the 3 objectives we're going to focus on here. So moving ahead, real quick blurb about using technology, and especially for my friend here who said they were is kind of new to using technology, been out of the classroom for a while, well, just as a reminder, when we have so many tech tools that are available to us, Google tools, Nearpod tools, other platforms, we always want to look at technology as being able to encourage student engagement, of course, big buzzword, a collaboration, because that's a great 21st century skill, to be able to work together, help keep us organized, communicate, and give feedback, either give feedback to the students or feedback from the students to me as the teacher. I get feedback from my students about where they are, what misconceptions they have, what they need more help with, or what their opinions are. We get diverse perspectives. So those are kind of the top 5 things to keep in mind when you are choosing to use a tech tool. So we think, of course, that using Nearpod is great for doing that, and using Google tools are great as well. So little disclaimer over here. I just want you to know I don't work for Google. I actually work for Nearpod. So, but I know a lot about using some of these Google tools. So, if you want to learn more specifically about these other Google tools, we encourage you to go check out the Google for Education website resources, which I will share with you at the end as well. And you can learn more there because they offer a lot of support for teachers too. But Nearpod can integrate with all of these Google tools very easily. Google Drive, Google Slides, Google Jamboard, Google Forms, Google Docs, Google Classroom, and of course, pay attention to that you are working with Google tools in Google Chrome, because that's the best browser to be in when you want to use a Google tool. So let's start off just talking about your Google Drive, because when you are bringing Google tools into Nearpod, chances are they are going to be saved in your Google Drive. We love Google Drive because if you create resources in Google Drive, it automatically saves them. And they're pretty easy to find. Even if you don't keep yourself organized very well in Google Drive, you can remember a word, a keyword, something that's included in the resource that you're looking for, and then you can quickly access those resources to use them together with Nearpod. So they will be living in your drive. So speaking of your drive, just for fun, we're going to take 2 minutes to do this. And I'm going to change this to the student view here. How would you describe your own Google Drive? Is it nice and orderly, color-coded, hot mess, organized chaos, or is it empty? On this screen here, you can move the instructions out of the way, grab one of these tools at the bottom, so you could grab a pen and you could draw. You could also grab a highlighter if you want to highlight something. You could grab a text box, which is the capital and lowercase t, and then if you want to type on it, you just move the text box around, drop your cursor in the text box and start typing. Or if you want to add an image, you can upload an image, and let me change to the student lesson here. You could click on this, you could search, it's a Google safe search. Okay, it's not a complete access to the entire internet, it's a safe search. You can find an image there maybe that will enhance your point or really drive the point home, or browse your own files and add the image to your screen there. So if I look for what's a mess here we go. Maybe my Google Drive is a mess. You're actually going to see my Google Drive. So I'm going to just submit that as my response here for what my Google Drive looks like. So I'm looking here. What I love, Draw, it's one of my favorite tools on Nearpod because I get these little thumbnails on my teacher dashboard. I could see all the work that my students are doing in real time. And this is just a fun way for us to build a community together here. You all are all over Utah. You don't know each other necessarily, but we can all relate to each other. And I'm jealous of this person right here. This person, look at you. Look at you with your organized, color-coded, nice and neat here that I'm looking at. I'll share this out with everybody in just a second, but I want to give you, I don't want to overtake your screen, because if I share somebody's work, it is going to take over your screen and you can't draw anymore. So take about 10 more seconds and then click that submit button. When you click submit on the bottom right hand corner, it turns green on my side and then I can share it with the rest of you. I'm going to click share. So now you can see what one of your classmates answered here. And I don't know why this got cut off. I spent time early this summer and organized it. It has a lot of stuff in there, but it looks gorgeous and makes sense now. I need to color code it. Isn't that satisfying? That would definitely feel great. I'm jealous. I definitely put that on my to-do list almost every week of go in and straighten out my Google Drive, but unfortunately sometimes it ends up just getting more cluttered here. What's going on? All right, so you notice that you can come back and you can actually edit your answers here. So I can't share them until they are submitted. So I could share somebody else's here. I could click share. It will overtake your screen. Share there. There we go. Definitely organized chaos. I'll just close that out. Okay, so some of us are messy, some of us are neater. It's always a work in progress. But nice thing about Google Drive, you just go put your keyword in, you could still find likely what you're looking for. But let's move ahead. So let's talk about how you pull resources out of your Google Drive and into Nearpod. Everything that you want to use has to be in your own drive. So if it's in a shared drive, okay, if you're looking here on the screen where it says the shared drive and the red X, you cannot pull it into Nearpod. You have to have it be in your own drive. So if you're at a school site, you're on a grade level team, maybe you have shared resources that you use, all you need to do is make a copy of those and put it into your own drive. And then when it's in your own drive, then you can simply upload it into Nearpod. Or if somebody shares something with you and you will see it in your own drive, that will work because it's in your drive. But just remember that it has to be in your own drive. It cannot be shared. So when you want to get something, you are going to look on Nearpod for the place where it says upload files, and then it brings you right to a choice. You will select your Google Drive. It will ask you, which drive do you want to go to? So you have to select the correct drive. Make sure, if it's just a professional one, the one with your school email, maybe not your personal one. You just remember where you're storing things, and then you upload those. So let me go ahead and kind of talk about a little bit more how that looks when we add our content into Nearpod from Google Slides. So you have two choices of how to do that. Either you can upload slides or you can use the add-ons. So we're going to start off here still talking about the first choice, this one right here, uploading slides. Now to do that, I am going to open another tab on my shared screen and I am going to walk you through the steps. So I will open up Nearpod. This is going to take you right into my Nearpod account so you can see my Nearpod account. This is it. This is me working for Nearpod. You see what mine looks like here. And I'm going to start off by creating a lesson. So I will go to the top left-hand corner, this blue button that says create, or there's another one up on the top right. They're the same. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is just go here to lesson. Don't worry about this one on the bottom. We'll get to that in a second, but we're going to start here at the top. So I click create lesson, brings me to my blank slate right here, my blank slate. And then when I look at this, if I just want to grab something that is in my Google Drive, organized, neat, however your drive is, I click upload files right here front and center. So I select that button front and center, and then I need to go to my drive. Now I will select this. I'm already logged in here, so Nearpod already knows what I'm doing. If you've never done this before, it will prompt you. It will say, can we access your drive, which drive, and you need to select it. But I've been working today, so it already knows. So I have a bunch of things that I use for demo, so I'm just going to put that keyword demo right in there. I'm going to see, what do I want to show you all? Well, the first thing I want to do is I just want to show you how to upload a slideshow right here. So I will select this ecosystem slideshow that I have. I will click on select, and then it asks me, do you want to upload this as individual slides, or do you want it to be a scrolling slideshow? So for this purpose, I want to create individual slides for my lesson. Otherwise, it's going to just scroll through on one screen. So I'm going to select individual slides, and then it's going to process. And when I talk about it processing, what it's doing is it's taking pictures of each one of the slides. It's taking basically a screenshot of those slides, and it's turning it into slides that I can use in Nearpod. All right, look at that. So now I'm in my Nearpod editing screen here, and now I can do all of the things that I want to do. I can move the slides around, I could delete them, I could click on a slide and I could convert it into a draw it, which is what we just experienced. So I could take a slide and I could now I'll make it so that the students can draw on top of the slide, like kind of anything that I want to do. If I want to add more resources from my Google Drive into Nearpod, I just will go back here, select upload files. Maybe this time I want to add an image. Like I know I have some images saved here. So I go back and put demo because I know that's how I've saved everything to demonstrate for you all. Like I have a little image right here. I'm going to select that. I'm going to select, I want it to be an individual slide. So it's processing that. It's going to upload that. That's going to pop in any second here. I can continue doing that if I have PDFs in there, if I have documents in my drive, like kind of anything that's been saved in my drive, I can just easily turn it into Google Slides. All right, so I'm going to leave this tab open here as I continue to build out a lesson here. So this is one way to start a Nearpod lesson, is you build your primary content in slides. Now something to note though, that web links, live hyperlinks, videos, audios, and GIFs are added in Nearpod and not in slides. Okay, let me grab a pen here and just really underline this. Not in slides. It's not going to work if you do it that way. Okay, so you have to just upload your slides to Nearpod and then add the hyperlinks and things afterwards if you choose to do it that way. Now, if you want to add those hyperlinks, videos, animations, other things into Nearpod, you would have to do that as adding content. So this is an example of a scrolling slideshow. So if you scroll down on your screen in your student lesson, it's going to demonstrate for you how you add all kinds of content features to Nearpod. And the main thing with Google is everything that's in Google is actually web content. So if there's something that has a hyperlink, something that has a video in it, something that has an animation in it, you would want to upload that separately into Nearpod as web content. So let me demonstrate what I'm talking about so this makes a little bit more sense to you. So I'm going to move our slide ahead here and we're going to see. So I took a slide that had hyperlinks on it from Google. I uploaded it into Nearpod as web content, and now if you click right there where it says hyperlinks on your screen, you're going to see how you got taken to our Nearpod blog right there, and it opened up in a new tab. Okay, and we love the Nearpod blog. We definitely recommend you following the Nearpod blog because look at it takes you right to the article about integrating Nearpod with Google Slides right there. Okay, going to the next slide. Hopefully you clicked on that hyperlink and you just have that opened up in a tab for you. Oh, here's an animated slide. Okay, so if I would have just uploaded that directly as into Nearpod the way I showed you, it would only take a screenshot of the animation. But if I upload it as web content, then the animation comes through. Here's another example. Sometimes you may have a Google slide that has a video in it. So you can put videos separately into Nearpod, but if you really, really want to keep it in your Google slide, you'd have to add it in as web content.
I want to show Mr. Gordon how much you've just taught me.
No, never mind.
Oh, thank you very much. That's very sweet of you.
Please.
And one other thing that you can do, you can add as web content into Nearpod, is actually create a choice board here. So this is a document that's hyperlinked with all different sorts of choices. So if you click on any one of those numbers, it's going to take you in another tab to another resource, like a student-paced Nearpod lesson that you could join in. Look at that. Here is a lesson about how to create with Google Slides and the Nearpod add-on. Okay, so you can go back over to this and you can select another number and choose another adventure here. Okay, and join as guest. So you're going to end up with a lot of tabs open up here. Okay, look at that. We've got a field trip, getting to know Utah. I'm sure you already know all about Utah. And you can just kind of continue moving through these choices here. All right, so that was a bunch of examples of what Nearpod can do. So let me show you then how to make that happen. And I need to close out some of these tabs so I'm not too confused here on what I'm demonstrating for you. So I am going to go over here to my Google Drive. So I'm on my Google account, going to my drive, and you're going to see my messy drive, not beautiful and color coded here. I'm going to just go to demo to find all the cool demo things that I want to show you so you can see how to add those into a Nearpod lesson. All right, so for example, here is, let me see, I got this, this was like a fun animation here, the one I am not a cat. Okay, notice this is an animated slide. So I need to let Nearpod know that this is web content. This isn't just an image. This actually does things. It moves around. So what I want to do is go here to File, and I want to publish this to the web. So on the top left-hand corner, I go almost all the way to the bottom, and I go Publish to Web. And then what it does is it creates a link for me. So then I can grab this link, I copy this link, and then when I go back over here to my Nearpod lesson that I'm creating, I'm going to go to Add Content and Activities, and I'll come over here to Web Content. And now I will just paste it in there and save it. And now my lesson will include the animated cat saying I am not a cat. Going back over to my Google Drive here. So here's that choice board that I just showed you. So once again, I can open that up. If I create the choice board, and I could just go here on the top left-hand corner where it says File. I go down to Publish to the Web. I can grab the link, and I could drop it in as web content. There's let me show you some more things here. But I would continue to go through that same process of just grabbing content here, publishing it to the web, and then dropping it in as web content. What I can also do though, here's another hyperdoc that I created here. Okay, this is one where it's a hyperdoc. If I clicked on any of these links, they're linked to Nearpod lessons here. So like I showed you, you go to File and you come down to Publish to the Web. I click Publish. Okay, here we go. There we go. And then I create the copy of it and I drop it in as web content. There's something else that I can do though, which is going up here to the top right where it says Share. So this is another way to put it in, and I could also just do copy link that way, and I could go back to my Nearpod lesson, go to Add Content and Activities, select here on Web Content, and drop that in as web content, and then I could click Save. I want to show you one other little trick, and then it's going to be in our presentation as well, though. If I want to make it look pretty, I just want to change the ending to say preview, and that's a Google trick. Okay, that's not a Nearpod thing. That is just a Google trick. If you want it to pop up as something kind of a thumbnail view, a pretty view of it, you need to make the ending say preview, and then I click save. And then now when I move into my lesson, when it's some sort of choice board or hyperdoc, it's going to be the pretty version of it. So let me show you like what this means here. When I want to preview my lesson here, I click on the bottom. This is how I see the work that I'm doing. And this is how you all can check your own work. I see like, okay, that one is gonna look pretty like that. The next slide, there it is. Okay, this is the one I published to the web. I put it in as web content. And the next one, oh, see how pretty that is? It didn't come up as a web address. It actually came up as in the preview version. All right, so this is how you add those animated links into a Nearpod lesson. There. So let me move ahead in our student lesson that we're following along here. And there's a couple slides for you to just like take a look at. So first of all, this slideshow will tell you how to create the hyperdoc if you don't know how to do that. So you create it, you grab the URL, you share it in your Nearpod lesson as web content, and you are ready to go. And once again, this slide, it talks to you about if you want to create a single slide with links and images, you just want to make sure that you change the ending of the link to not say edit USP equals sharing. You want to change the ending to say preview, and you add it to your Nearpod lesson as web content. All right, so I want to give you a minute to try some of that. I know I've been talking a lot. I want you to try some of this. So what I'm going to do here is I am going to, hold on, I'm going to move us back in this lesson here. I am going to go through where we started to let you explore these slides on your own here. All right, so I am going to go from, what slide are we on right now? I'm bringing up my slide editor. Okay, we are on slide 16. So I am going to turn on student paste all the way through to slide 23. 16 to 23. Now you can move through those slides on your own to get some of this information. I'm going to put on the timer for 3 minutes to let you try some of this out in your own Nearpod accounts. And then we'll come back and we'll talk about using the add-on instead and the difference between using the add-on. So pulling up the timer here. I'm going to put 2 or 3 minutes here, and here we go. So you can move around through the slides on your screen now on your own, and I'll play some music while you are working on that. All right, so our timer came to an end there for 3 minutes. What I am going to do now is turn off the student paste. So it pulls you all back together to looking at the slide that I want you to look at. Do remember, as a student, over here, if you activated your notes, turn this little notes navigator on. If you want to go back and revisit this presentation after we are done, you just need to check your email or your Google Drive where you share this presentation, and you can continue to learn and discover. But let me do some more explaining now here. So that is one way to bring your Google Slides into Nearpod. Upload your resources, upload things individually if you want them to be, be more interactive, if you have those interactive features. Now, the other way that you can do, or you can work with Google Slides, is you can use the Google Slides add-on and stay in Google. This allows you to build complete Nearpod lessons in Google. You edit the lessons in Google. The hyperlinks will function as long as you create them with the add-on open, and the immersive reader will work because the immersive reader doesn't work when you just upload an image, when you upload a slide as an image, because the immersive reader can't read a photo. It's just, essentially those slides become photos. But if you create it in Google Slides with the add-on, then the immersive reader will work. Any text that's typed or copied and pasted on a slide will be able to be read to the students. So this next slide is the step-by-step of how it works. So I'm going to leave it open there in your Nearpod lesson as a student, and I'm going to actually just demonstrate it live. So I'm going to go back over here to my Google Drive, and I'm going to work backwards. Instead of starting in Nearpod, I'm starting in Google. So I am going to choose this, this lesson. Here's another demo lesson that I have. Okay, I see some slides over here. All right, I've got 8 slides. Now I want to work with Nearpod. So I need to get the add-on. So I'm going to go up here to the top where it says add-ons. Now, if you have never grabbed the Nearpod add-on before, that's the first thing that you have to do. You're going to go to Get Add-ons, and you're going to search for Nearpod, and you select that, and you need to quickly install it. It's free and it's available to you. Right? I already have it installed, so now I go to Add-ons, I go over to Nearpod, and I click Open Nearpod. So now I'm doing my Google Slides the way I'm used to, but Nearpod is going to open up here on the side. It's a different process. Okay, something that's so important to remember is to every time you work in Google Slides with the add-on and you come back and you edit it, you have to open the add-on. Like if I was going to take notes on my lesson here, I would write this in all caps. Open the add-on every time, okay? Because if you don't, it's going to create duplicates of the slides there. All right, so you keep it open, and now you can, you can take these slides, you could convert a slide to a draw it over here. I just select convert to draw it, and now it turns it into a slide that students can draw on top of. If I want to edit it, I need to select on the right hand side here, edit this slide. If I want to add any of the Nearpod activities that are so great for checking for understanding and getting formative assessment data, getting feedback, I just go through here and like, oh, I want to add in, I want to add a poll. So I would select the poll from the Nearpod add-on. I would create my poll like do you like cilantro? Okay, and I could just, create my poll, yes, no, and then I could save my poll here. I could click on all the buttons. I could add a timer to the poll. I could add reference media to the poll. I'm building out my lesson here, but I'm making that Google Slides presentation way more interactive because I'm putting checks for understanding. I, of course, could put any of the other Nearpod features like adding 3D, virtual reality. I could add a collaborate board. I could add audio. I could add a quiz, slideshow, videos, time to climb. Okay, so this is another way. If I don't want to put a video in Google Slides, like right in my slide, but I want to add a video through Nearpod that has the interactive questions, I just select the video feature from Nearpod. I choose from the video library if I'm looking for video about planets. All right. Cool, I'm going to select that one. I can see it's got a bunch of questions. Okay, I'm going to save that. And I'm moving through this really quickly because this is not the session where we focus on specifically creating with Nearpod, but those are all of the content and activity features that you can add to your lesson there. So that's how I build it out. I just have to make sure that this is open. Then I click Save and go to Nearpod on the bottom right hand corner. And now I'll see it's taken me over to my Nearpod account, and there is my lesson. Okay, So here on the right in my Nearpod account, this is the one I was kind of showing you with ecosystems, and then here's the one that I'm just showing you with the Google add-on. Now, if I want to edit this, when I click on edit, it's going to pop me back over to Google. But notice something very important. Alyssa, just don't forget Alyssa told you this. The add-on's not open. If I want to make a change, if I want to edit this lesson, I need to make sure I open the add-on again. Otherwise, it's going to just create duplicates and the changes are not going to be saved. It's going to get all crazy. So I just make sure I open that every time I want to work on this, make any changes to it, any edits whatsoever, whatever I do, and then I click on the bottom right, save and go to Nearpod, and it takes me back. All right, so another way to create with the Google add-on would be if you just go to the create button here and you go to the bottom choice, which is Google Slides. If I select that one, it's going to take me back over to Google Slides, and it's going to walk you through how to do it, and it's going to give you the step-by-step guide here of how to do that. All right, so that is how it works with the Google Slides add-on. It's different than uploading directly into Google Slides here. So let me quickly share one other thing. We have a couple more minutes here before we wrap things up. I want to share another idea about using Google Slides in a Nearpod lesson, because Google Slides, as well as all Google tools, are a great collaboration space for students. So students can share ideas with each other. You can work on a common project, and it turns it into all kinds of great learning opportunities. So you can also create a collaborative Google slide deck for your students where you build out the directions and you create a slide for each learner to duplicate, and then they all work together. So let's give this a try here. So this time we took a Google Slides presentation and we dropped it right into Nearpod, and this allows you to work together on this. So if you look on the left-hand side, notice how you all just got dropped right into this to be able to edit. It's what is your favorite book, and you can click through the slides on your own here. There's an example, and these are the directions. So if you would like to just go right-click on that slide, duplicate the slide. Now you've got your own. You could work on this. You could add images. You could do the editing. If your students know how to do this, we are building out a collaborative slide deck as a class. So give that a try for 1 minute. Just right-click on a slide, work on your own slide, and notice how we are creating a slideshow together as a class. So the way this works, so you'll notice that you have this opportunity to just get together, and it's like we're building out a class book or we're building out a class slideshow. So I could have the prompt be anything that I want. This is, again, a way to make the Google experience more collaborative for your students by dropping it right into Nearpod. So really quickly, how I would make this happen in a Nearpod, if you want to glance over at my shared screen here, I would just go over and create a slideshow. And I'm going to just create a blank one here. I'm going to do a really simple thing, like this is my sample with directions. Okay, and so this would be what I would want to drop into my lesson. I want to make sure that I have my sharing settings set correctly. Let me give it a title up here. So I go to the top right in Google and I go to share. And then I need to notice, okay, I want to give anyone with the link the ability to edit this. So I select that my sharing settings are correct. I copy the link. I always grab that link. Guess what? I'm going to go over here to my Nearpod lesson that I was building out. I'm going to go to add content and activities. I'm going to go to web content, and then I will paste it right in there, and I will select save, and guess what? now my students will move into that collaborative slideshow experience. While I let you do that, look at that. Very nice. Thank you for working on this. We've got some good book suggestions coming in here on this collaborative project. So guess what? Because I'm controlling this in our live Nearpod lesson, and I didn't have to tell you click here, click there, log in over here, log in over there. When I click here on the right, it moves you away from that and you no longer can work on that. So I'm still controlling the pace of this lesson. So speaking of pace of the lesson, we went a little bit over time here. So I'm just going to pull this all together here. Hopefully you got some great ideas about how you can start to create lessons in Nearpod with your Google Slides. So you can either do it within Google Slides with the add-on, or you can you'll get creative with how you use the Google Slides, use them to collaborate, add all the formative assessments using the Nearpod add-on, or add media to your lessons with Google Slides. If you need more information about using Nearpod, you can always access our Teacher Resources Hub or get help at nearpod.com/help. Let me just go, okay, I don't know why that is still taking so long to save, but let me just show you, especially for my new people. Check out the Teacher Resources here on the bottom left-hand corner. Okay, you can always find anything that you need to help you out with using Nearpod here on this page. We host live webinars, not just for teachers in Utah, but for teachers everywhere. You can come to any of those or explore some recordings, quick how-to videos on YouTube, or just right here, and frequently asked questions. Of course, connect to the blog. Join us for all our great events. Just become part of the Nearpod family. We are so happy that you are here and trying to use the tool, because it is just a great tool to use with students. Additionally, in your student lesson, you're going to see a link to the Google for Education page. So go ahead and come back to that, explore more about using Google tools. They've got a lot of great resources there as well. I am going to end our session. I went a little bit over time here. You could post here if you have any ideas or questions about incorporating Nearpod and Google together. I am going to turn on student paste to the end of this session because there are a couple more things here for you just to take a look at as you move to the end. There's an evaluation form here, so do know that you attended if you click on it, this is an integrations session, and my name is the first one on the list, it's Alyssa. And then the final slide for you to move through would be the Google form for you to get a certificate credit for today's webinar through the state. So please fill this out if you want to submit that, and that will go to Katie, who is coordinating this effort through the state there. All right, other than that, thank you so much for joining. Apologize for going a little bit over time. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and the rest of your summer, and take care.